Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Well, Josh, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you. And as a longtime fan of yours, so excited to talk to you, and particularly for this series, because I really loved what you did as Samuel. And, you've been part of some really epic stories in your career, like Avatar comes to mind, of course. But I'm curious what it was that drew you to this one.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but every actor has a mental checklist of genres that one has to be in. And my biblical box had gone unchecked for a long time, you know. I was waiting for the proper biblical role for me to come along, it seems to me, you know. And who knows? If John the Baptist had come along first, maybe I'd be doing that, you know. But I think I was fated to play a Nazarite. And um, in any case, I was asked to do this, and it's a story with which I think we all have a certain familiarity, and it's a story that I've always had a lot of thoughts about because, and mostly, so much of it had to do with Saul, had to do with what I can, I remember even as a boy when we were being taught the story, feeling an awful lot of pain for Saul. I just never quite got it. And so anyway, they asked me if I'd do the role, and I had discussions with John Irvin and John Gunn, the producers and the directors, and we had a long session together where I was asked some, I think, good questions and hard questions, and they gave really good answers. And I came away from that meeting feeling that I was dealing with some very creative and open-minded and good people. And in fact, that did prove to be the case. As we worked on it together, they gave me a tremendous amount of um, guidance, but they also gave me a tremendous amount of latitude, in finding, the human being here, aside from the historical or legendary figure of aside from the icon, you
Yeah.
know to really
Yeah.
try to find the individual, the man there, and that was a great pleasure to go on that particular journey.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Some of my favorite roles of yours are when we see you playing these very formidable, quite physical characters. But I felt like watching this, Samuel's words and his knowledge are really where he draws power and strength from. So, was that an element of a character you're excited to explore? Because he feels a lot more vulnerable, maybe, than some of the other people we've seen you play.
Yes, I mean also the age has a lot to do with it as well, because most of the characters who I've played, and certainly as I get older, the older I get, the older the characters seem to get, but age has never been a primary issue with any of this. But with Samuel, the age is very, very important to me. You're talking about a man who is at the towards the twilight of what has been a very, very long and influential life among the tribes of Israel. He's wielded authority for a long, long, long time, and and to portray the aging patriarch that was a bit of a new challenge for me. Along with all the other challenges of basically having a one-on-one relationship with Yahweh, that's challenging enough, but that's what drew me. That's just one of the things that drew me to it, aside from the fact that it's just such a marvelous story, such a great yarn.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And on that note, I mentioned Avatar before. Of course, working with James Cameron, that's a mythology, amazing mythology he's created. But here you're working with this obviously biblical story that's thousands of years old. So does that change how you approach a story like this as an actor, given that it's rooted in history like that? Or is it all just part of, as an actor, building a world around you? That's just what you do.
It's a very good question. It's a question that one kind of perpetually, is revolving in one's brain as one works on it. What is your responsibility to history here? Well, I think we need to be clear what the we this is historical in the fact that this happened, that there was David, there was Saul, there was Samuel. This is history. And what they are events. They are figures and events from 3,000 plus years ago. And then what happens is those events, they don't mean a whole lot until they really begin to coalesce with legend, with speculation, with imagination, with belief and faith, with the stuff that people who are experiencing the story bring bring to the story, bring to the facts, bring to the events themselves. And so I feel that we have a tremendous there's a responsibility to tell the story and but and to be accurate to the spirit that is being that is being spoken of, that is being personified through this book, through Samuel 1 and 2, to really capture that spirit. And that spirit has many aspects to it. Some of it are violent and raging, and some of that spirit is incredibly benevolent and loving. And to try to capture as much of that spirit as one can. Within that, one, whether you're the writer, the director, the actor, the art director, the costume designer, the hair designer, you have a lot of freedom to be imagined. You have imaginative freedom to make, to tell the story.
Absolutely fascinating. Well, Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time. Like I said, big fan of your work, and I loved what you did here and cannot wait for people to see House of David. So thank you so much.
Very kind of you. Thank you so much. Nice talking to you.